Knowledge is power. That's what we've always been told. And it's true. Knowledge helps you make better decisions, avoid mistakes, understand the world, and see opportunities that other people cannot see. But there is a point where knowledge can become dangerous. Because the more you know, the more problems you can see, the more possibilities you discover, the more things you realize can go wrong. And suddenly, knowledge that was supposed to give you confidence starts giving you anxiety. You stop asking, "What can I do?" and start asking, "But what if this goes wrong?" So in this video, we're going to explore a strange paradox: why knowledge is power when you have enough of it, but can become a curse when you know too much. Imagine you have to choose between two paths. Without knowledge, you're guessing. You don't know which path is dangerous. You don't know which one leads to an opportunity. You simply choose and hope for the best. But knowledge changes that. The more relevant information you have, the more clearly you can see the consequences of your decision. If you understand how money works, you're less likely to fall into a financial trap. If you understand how your body works, you're more likely to make better decisions about your health. If you understand a skill, you're more likely to solve problems that would confuse someone else. This is why knowledge is powerful. It reduces unnecessary uncertainty. But notice one important word: relevant. You don't need to know everything. You only need to know enough to make the next decision better. Because there is a difference between learning to understand and learning because you're afraid to act. Have you ever learned so much that you became afraid to start? Think about starting a business. At first, you're excited. You think, this could work. Then you start researching. You discover competition, market risks, failure rates, economic problems, customer complaints, stories about businesses that collapsed. And suddenly, the simple idea that once excited you now feels terrifying. The more you know, the more possible ways you can imagine yourself failing. Someone with very little knowledge might say, let's just try it. But someone who knows much more might say, wait, what about this, and what if this happens? And suddenly, nothing happens. This is one of the strange curses of knowledge. You become better at seeing problems, but sometimes worse at moving through them, because knowledge gives your brain more possibilities to calculate, and your brain loves calculating. What if I choose the wrong option? What if the market changes? What if someone else is better? What if I fail? Eventually, you reach a point where learning more doesn't improve your decision. It simply gives your fear more material to work with. So you keep learning more and more. But what if learning feels like progress even when you're going nowhere? This is where knowledge becomes even more dangerous. Because learning feels productive. You read a book, you watch a documentary, you listen to a podcast, you take notes, you highlight important sentences. And at the end of the day, you feel like you've improved. But ask yourself something. What actually changed in your life? You can read 100 books about exercise and still be unhealthy. You can study productivity for years and still procrastinate. You can learn everything about starting a business and still never start one. Knowledge is potential power, but potential power isn't the same as actual power. It becomes powerful when you use it. Think about someone who reads 10 books about swimming, but never gets into the water. They might know the theory. They might understand breathing techniques. They might know how the body should move. But the moment they enter the water, reality teaches them something no book could. The same thing happens in life. You can learn about confidence, but confidence comes from doing things that make you uncomfortable. You can learn about discipline, but discipline develops when you actually do something you don't want to do. You can learn about communication, but communication improves when you actually talk to people. At some point, you have to stop collecting knowledge and start collecting experience. Everything we've discussed so far is about finding the balance between gaining relevant knowledge and taking action, using real experience to make meaningful progress towards success in life. But does that actually make you happy? That might be a completely different question that we need to explore more deeply, because knowing more doesn't always make you happier. Here's where the paradox becomes even deeper. Knowledge doesn't just change the way you make decisions. It can change the way you experience life. Think about a child. A child can be fascinated by something incredibly simple. A puddle, a toy, a new place, a random insect. Everything feels new. Why? Because they don't know enough to see all the complications. As you grow older, you learn about money. You learn about responsibility. You learn about failure. You learn about betrayal. You learn about illness. You learn about death. And suddenly, the world becomes more complicated. Knowledge removes some of the illusions that made life feel simple. And while that can make you wiser, it can also make life heavier. You begin noticing problems that you never noticed before. You understand risks that other people don't see. You understand consequences that other people don't think about. And sometimes, you wish you could go back to the time when you didn't know. But here's the important distinction. The answer isn't ignorance. You don't need to become less intelligent. You don't need to stop learning. You simply need to understand that knowing something exists doesn't mean you need to worry about it constantly. You can know that problems exist without carrying every problem inside your head. You can understand that life is uncertain and still enjoy today. So, is knowledge really power? Yes, but only when you know how to use it. Knowledge can help you make better decisions. It can protect you from unnecessary mistakes. It can open opportunities you couldn't see before. But too much knowledge can make you overthink. It can make you afraid to start. It can make learning feel like progress, even when you're standing still. And sometimes, it can make you so aware of life's problems that you forget to enjoy life itself. So don't chase knowledge simply for the sake of knowing more. Ask yourself, will knowing this help me make a better decision? If yes, learn it. If not, maybe you don't need it right now. Because the goal isn't to know everything. The goal is to know enough. Then use what you know.